What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 2021 My Team Career Mode for Season 3, Round number 10, the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. We start today with an upgrade that's come through for our chassis, so that's good. We're going to put what I believe is our final aerodynamics upgrade on the car as well, so that will come through in the next couple of races, hopefully, as long as it doesn't fail. We've got plenty of time for activities here because there is a big break between the last race and this one, and I think it's actually a season break, which we'll then go into another little bit, which hopefully we'll be able to put another couple of activities on. We're actually going to upgrade our quality control to 3 on our powertrain, which means that now, once that comes through, we will have finally have spec 3 on the powertrain, because I think the powertrain is the thing that's really been letting us down a little bit in this mid part of the season, because as you can see here, Red Bull are in front of us on R&D now. We're right there with Mercedes in second. McLaren has actually overtaken Ferrari for first, and Williams, you can see back there, AlphaTauri have overtaken Williams, and now Aston Martin are right on their tail as well. So the goal here for us is, because we're still in a championship fight here. We didn't have a great race last time out at Silverstone, P10, but I'm hoping that we can try and bring some stuff back here, because we really need to still be in this title fight, and it is a great title fight that's going on. Of course, you've got Charles Leclerc in the lead. He's going to be probably a little bit wary now that Ferrari are effectively the 5th quickest car. They are at the bottom of this very highly contested and very close top 5, but they are now at the bottom of it, whereas at the start of the season they were at the top of it. So hopefully, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari are going to be hoping that they can bring something at the end towards the end of this season to keep their championship contention alive. As we finish up our lap in Q1 here, it's actually not a terrible lap time. We end up in P8, Daniel Ricciardo in P6. So it's not too bad. I think we are going to struggle a little bit here though, because powertrain being our issue here, this track has quite a lot of long, fast straights. So I'm a bit worried about that. And also the powertrain upgrade isn't going to come through until just before Monza, which is the next race. But that means that I'm not going to actually be able to put any powertrain upgrades on the car. They're not actually going to come through until after Monza, so I feel like we're going to be let down a little bit here because of the not as good engine that we have. And yeah, I'm interested to see how Monza's going to go as well, because that is a very much power focused track, more than any other track on the calendar. So yeah, not really sure how that's going to go. And you can probably tell here we're showing the full lap, because I do not make it out of Q2. We don't make it into Q3, unfortunately. It's just, yeah, as you guys will probably know from when I've been talking in previous episodes, my qualifying pace compared to the AI is not quite there, but the AI difficulty that I currently have it set at is about where it needs to be for the race. So I could make it easier for qualifying, but then it's probably going to be way too easy in the race. So I've kind of got to find a happy medium, and I think I'm about there. But it's just, I think, at the fact at the moment that the top 5 teams, which is effectively the top 10 drivers, is just so close. They're just so close to each other that just one other driver, that is usually Pierre Gasly in one of the lower teams, doing a really good performance, kicks one person out of that top 10, and generally that is usually me, just with the way things work out. But we're going to have to kind of work on that later on, work on that throughout this season, throughout this whole kind of career mode, I suppose. But we finish our lap in Q2, and yeah, it is only good enough for P11, and it is Pierre Gasly who knocks us off the block here, unfortunately. Knocks us out of Q2. We do not get through to Q3. Daniel Ricciardo only P7 there as well, so potentially showing that our car, considering we're supposedly second fastest on pace, the fact that our powertrain isn't developed too much, maybe not the best track for our car here.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula One World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 meters of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole position today, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Giovinazzi, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo and Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Zhou and Pierre Gasly, Shaw, Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon and Lundgaard, Fernando Alonso, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas, Russell, Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright, so here we go to 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix in Season 3. The lights are on and now the lights are out and we are underway. It is a decent enough start from us here. Not the best start from Guan Yu Zhou. Gasly gets a pretty good start, but then Zhou goes for a big dive on Carlos Sainz. But Carlos Sainz now side by side with us. Zhou has actually got he didn't get the best initial start, but just a little bit of a dive bomb at the start. It's actually gained him a couple of positions there in front of Sainz, and now he's right on the back of Leclerc, the championship leader. As we continue up Eau Rouge through Radion here, Pierre Gasly is right up our bumper. He's very, very close to behind us, and I'm having to go super defensive. Of course, no DRS enabled yet, but he's just got the big slipstream on us, and we're going really defensive into this next corner. Get the car stopped. Make sure we don't run into Carlos Sainz up ahead. That would be pretty bad for the both of us. I mean, Sainz has had enough bad luck this season as it is without having a off on the very first lap. As we get very close to him once again here, just trying to stay as close as we can to this group. You can see on the minimap in the bottom left, Perez has got a bit of a jump at the start and seems to have a good control over this race on this first lap as we continue through, just trying to keep that gap to Gasly, but he is still right behind us. That is one of my weaker parts on the track right there, that long left hand corner. I do not seem that good through there, but it's through this section, well, really out of this section, where I seem to be better because we brake into this corner here, and then from this point onwards it's pretty much flat. You have to get the turning perfectly through this section. You don't want to run wide. We saw that last season, I think it was, where I ran wide out of there, got some underbody damage. You do not want that to happen. But then through this whole section here, everybody does not seem to be able to, the AI don't, I don't know, they don't run flat through that section. They have a little bit of a lift. I can go flat through there quite easily, so that is where we're definitely making up some time, and it's pretty good actually, because you know, usually you'd think through that section I wouldn't be that great because of the power deficit, but we actually do make some good time up through there as we are continuing on here, now looking very much at the back of Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Like I said, this driver not had a good season so far, considering his teammate is right at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Carlos Sainz, he did not make the most of his first races when Ferrari were so competitive, and has just been having massive unluckiness from then onwards. But now we're going to try and make a move with ERS. We may not have the quickest engine on the grid, but we're going to go round the outside of him into this corner and get the position. He's now right up the back of me though, but we've got the position on Carlos Sainz. Although we don't have the best engine on the grid, I have plenty of ERS to play with, and with the slipstream as well, we managed to get that position done. Further down the order, also on lap 2, we've got Esteban Ocon, who seems to have a problem as his car goes up in smoke, and that looks like it's Esteban Ocon out of the race. He's trying to keep out of the way, very, very close to some of these further down the order cars here, but Ocon's car goes back up in smoke again, and he's out of the race. I think that's 2 races in a row Ocon is out due to a mechanical failure. As they go past his smoking car, I think this is George Russell and Sebastian Vettel having a bit of a battle here, going down into turn 1 onto lap number 3. DRS will now be enabled, and Russell trying to keep his car on the inside there. Vettel, the 4-time world champion, is giving him a good fight. Of course, Russell's had a really good battle with Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel's teammate last season, as these two go too wide up Eau Rouge through Radion. It's a very, very tense, amazing battle here. There's a Williams of, I believe, Valtteri Bottas just waiting in the background there. It looks like at the moment that Russell's managed to get the position, but now Bottas is going for a move on Vettel. There he goes through the inside, round the outside of the next corner, but then has the inside for the next one again. So Vettel has been overtaken by Russell and is now in a battle with the Williams of Valtteri Bottas, and Bottas has managed to get that position. Vettel loses 2 positions in the space of a couple of corners there, so that is not good for him. As it carry on with us here on lap number 5, we're looking to find a way past Guan Yu Zhou. We're going to try and go to the outside of the final chicane, but we can't quite get it done there. A little bit of an audacious move from me there. I'm just trying to make my way through the grid as quickly as I can here, because I know that even though we don't have the greatest engine pace with the DRS and everything, if we can just keep in DRS range all the time of someone, we've got pretty decent pace here, because round the corners we're pretty good. So I'm just trying to keep as close to Zhou as I can and try and get past him, and then get into the DRS range and slipstream range of, I believe it's Charles Leclerc, the championship leader, just ahead of them. As this time I've got DRS on Guan Yu Zhou. We're going for a move around the outside into this corner. We go very, very deep by accident there, but we just about managed to keep it in the confines of the track. Purple through the first sector with that massive slipstream and DRS, and we are now up to P8. As on lap number 6, Charles Leclerc ahead of us is into the pits. He's early into the pits here, so maybe going for a 2-stop here, because that is quite early to come in on the soft tyres, although he will be using soft tyres that he got through to Q3, and whereas we have brand new soft tyres since we didn't make it through to Q3. And on the next lap round, Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton are also into the pits. As we look back once again at Charles Leclerc here, he has already had his pit stop. He is on to another set of, I believe, soft tyres, so reckon he must be going for the 2-stop strategy here as he comes around turn 1. We're going to see where he pops out compared to the other 2 cars. Ricciardo and Hamilton were both in front of him before the pit stops, and he's managed to get past Hamilton, and he's now side by side with our teammate Daniel Ricciardo up Eau Rouge. It's a great little battle here. Looks like Leclerc has got the undercut done on Ricciardo, definitely on Hamilton, as you can just see him there behind these two. I think Ricciardo's got the DRS, but Charles Leclerc is going to try and hang it round the outside of that corner there off the straight. It is a great little battle from these two here, and I think Leclerc has just about managed to get at the two main championship rivals at the moment, the two at the top of the grid, fighting it out, and Leclerc has managed to get a double undercut done on Ricciardo and Hamilton. As the next lap round, lap number 8, we come in for our pit stop because we're going on to a 1-stop, and I think Ricciardo, I'm not sure actually, he might be on, I'm not sure what tyres he's on, to be completely honest with you. I think he might actually be on a set of hard tyres, so looks like he's going to the end. Leclerc though looks to be doing a 2-stop, and then we're going to come out. We've actually had a pretty good stop here and have managed to come out just behind this group, so I think we've actually caught up in the pit stop there with these guys, even though we've come in later. We're onto a set of mediums, and like we can see up there, Hamilton is on hards, Ricciardo is on hards, so those guys are going on to the end on the hards, as we are trying another audacious move on a Mercedes, the same sort of move that we did on Guan Yu Zhou, or we tried on Guan Yu Zhou. On Lewis Hamilton, a little bit more effective this time. We managed to get through the chicane side by side, but he's got the better run out of it. But then we're going to try and have a look at the inside, but he goes defensive into turn 1, so we can't quite do anything at the moment. But I'm going to try and be patient. It looks like Carlos Sainz behind is also on a set of soft tyres, so the Ferrari's going for a 2-stop here. Everybody else is going for a 1-stop, so this could either be a stroke of genius for Ferrari, or it could be a big downside, but we're going to easily breeze our way past Lewis Hamilton. We're on the better tyres. It's also just the fact that he isn't in DRS range of Ricciardo, and we have easy DRS on him, even with not such a great engine. We're way quicker than him with the DRS and the slipstream. As we watch here, Antonio Giovinazzi coming out of the pits. He was in 2nd place, I believe, but because he managed to jump Max Verstappen on the start, but Verstappen's now got himself back into P2 with a beautiful undercut. You can see these guys onto the medium tyres, so these guys doing the same strategy as myself. However, I think they were on the softs for a little bit longer than me, but now Giovinazzi is trying to fight his way back through the field, back up into 2nd place to make this a Red Bull 1-2, but Max Verstappen is not going to give that position up easily. Of course he's not, but it looks like Giovinazzi's just about managed to get it done. That Red Bull, a very, very quick car at the moment, definitely the car to beat on this track. And you know, looking at this, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with at Monza as well, because their straight line speed is just so good. Lap number 12 for us, and we've now managed to get into DRS range of our teammate Daniel Ricciardo. We're going to finally have another battle with him. We're going to go to the inside of this corner here. We brake a little bit too late. Ricciardo locks up into the corner, but we can't quite make advantage of that. And we're going to have to stay behind him. I don't want to do anything too crazy. It says yellow flags behind. Don't really know what's gone on there. We have to be careful with Ricciardo though, because we do, well, firstly, it's our teammate. We don't want to have anything crazy happen there. But also we have Lewis Hamilton right behind us. As we watch a replay here of Pierre Gasly, that is what the yellow flag behind us was for. Gasly just putting down the power a bit too eagerly through that corner and spinning it round. That is very unfortunate for the French AlphaTauri driver, as 2 laps later, lap number 14, we had a little bit of a breather at lap 13, not pressurizing Ricciardo too much, but now we're going to try it again. We've once again got the DRS on our teammate, equal engines, but with the DRS we go for a very sketchy move up the inside, but can't quite get it done there. He very much squeezed us to the outside of the track there. Things are getting a little bit tense between myself and Ricciardo here as we head through this long left-hander here. I've said before, this is probably my weakest part of the track, and this time around we don't carry quite enough speed here, and Hamilton actually has a little bit of a look up the outside into that corner. You would have just seen him in my left mirror, but can't quite do anything there. As we're going to continue on here, lap number 15 with Ricciardo right in front of us, trying to brake as late as we can into this chicane. We want to be as close as we can be to him as we get onto this back straight, because the thing is, he's on the hard tyres, we're on the medium tyres. We've got the tyre advantage at the moment, but in a few laps time he's going to have the advantage, because those hard tyres they take a little bit to bed in, but as we get through the laps in this race, my medium tyres are going to be going off the cliff, and the hard tyres will just be getting to their peak. So we really want to make a move on Ricciardo as soon as we can. We make him go very defensive into this corner. We're going to dart to the outside, and this time it's a fairly easy overtake. We were just quite a lot closer coming up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, and we've got the position on Ricciardo. We're up into P5, so it's a good position for us. I'm pretty happy with this considering we started in P11. As we continue on here, it looks like Lance Stroll has got a mechanical issue, and we watch his teammate Sebastian Vettel come around the corner and go straight into the back of his teammate, just not watching where he's going there, and also Lance Stroll just not being in the greatest position. We look at an onboard from Vettel, as you can see, Stroll just on the outside there, right on the racing line, to be honest. However, I don't know, Vettel could have quite easily moved away from that, so really unfortunate for Vettel and Stroll, both Aston Martins crashing into each other. Although Vettel is still in the race, he'll just need to now come in for a front wing change, so he's going to get plonked right down the back of the order, as we are now still trying to pull away from Ricciardo and Hamilton. Those guys, like I said, on the hard tyres, we cannot catch the guys in front. It's the 2 McLarens and the 2 Red Bulls, the top 4, but those guys also on the medium tyres like ours. However, they seem to have more pace here than we do, and also their tyres are a little bit newer than ours. They came in a couple of laps later than we did for the medium tyres, so we're really not going to be able to catch those guys. But it's going to be just a fact of trying to keep Hamilton and Ricciardo behind us, now that their tyres are kind of getting to their peak and my tyres are starting to lose a little bit of performance. As we watch on with Carlos Sainz here, he has gone for the 2-stop strategy with his teammate Leclerc, and well, I'm going to say it, I don't think that was the way for Ferrari to go. They've really made a big mistake here, because Leclerc is now outside of the points. He's got Christian Lundgaard in the Alpine ahead of him here, trying to make his way through. This is only for like I think this is for like P11 maybe, because I think that's Yuki Tsunoda up ahead in P10, as Lundgaard is actually giving Sainz a bit of a run for his money here, but Sainz will just about manage to get the position. He's got 3 more laps to catch up to Yuki Tsunoda to get a single point in this race. At the moment it is another 0-point race for Carlos Sainz. As we continue on here, lap number 20 of 22, and I'm really just trying to keep Ricciardo behind. He's putting a lot of pressure on me now. I overtook him, but after I took a little bit too long to overtake him, and now, especially with the DRS and everything, he's just managing to keep with me so much. I'm using so much of my ERS, just depleting the battery almost, but now his tyres are definitely working better. As onto the final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, this would be Sergio Perez coming through. He is quite a way ahead of the rest of the pack here. It's a pretty convincing lead and a pretty convincing win in the end for him. Back-to-back victories for Sergio Perez and Red Bull. I think it's actually 3 in a row for Red Bull because Giovinazzi won back 2 rounds ago in Austria, but Sergio Perez will come through to win the Belgian Grand Prix. You can see Giovinazzi and Verstappen just behind him there. He has about a 4-second lead to those guys, and on this final lap we're just having to defend quite a lot from Ricciardo and Hamilton. My tyres are starting to go off quite a bit now. They're not terrible, but compared to those guys on the hards, which are pretty much at their peak at this point, we are struggling a little bit here. And yeah, we were losing a decent amount of time to Norris up ahead in 4th place, so there was no chance of us catching him as we come to overtake a Mazepin under blue flags, but we're not going to quite be able to overtake him before the end of the race. We're going to come through though to finish P5. It's a pretty decent result. I'm happy enough with that. The fact that we've beaten Ricciardo, I think, is good. I think if he went onto a medium, if he did the same strategy as me, he probably would have beat me, but we had the slightly better strategy here, and the fact that we've beaten our teammate, I'm happy with that. It's P5, it's decent
Many
points.
doubted whether they could pull off the win here at Spa-Francorchamps, but they've done so in spectacular style. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I'd say it was down once again to good consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
So Sergio Perez makes it 2 in a row for himself, winning the Belgian Grand Prix. Giovinazzi makes it a 1-2 for Red Bull. So Red Bull definitely picking up the pace after not being the best at the start of this season. And Max Verstappen keeps his streak going of podiums with a P3. Lando Norris for P4. So it's actually 2 Red Bulls followed by 2 McLarens, followed by the 2 TGL Motorsport cars, myself beating Ricciardo. Then you've got Hamilton, Leclerc, championship leader, all the way down in P8, with Guan Yu Zhou P9 and Yuki Tsunoda managing to pick up that P10. Carlos Sainz could not quite get that point, so it's another no point finisher for Carlos Sainz once again here. As in the driver standings, well, Sergio Perez overtakes Ricciardo to be now 2nd place in the championship, and he's only 2 points, I think that is, behind Leclerc. So it's not looking good for Leclerc and Ferrari, as nothing else changed in the rest of the championship and nothing changed in the Constructors' Championship either. Red Bull take a bigger lead over my team, and now McLaren are catching up in P3 there with Ferrari in P4. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.